God damn you, Brad Garlinghouse, Nate screams. Give me back my channel. Okay. Brad gives Nate his channel back. Oh, sick, Nate says, looking at his phone to see his channel restored. Ben speaks up. Okay, but what about the PCP channel? Foolish fuckboy. The PCP's ultra-dedicated audience will continue to pay you fools, even if all your channel does is stream crypto ads from now until forever. But we make all our money on Patreon.com/BenSaint, Ben says. My plan doesn't have to make sense, I'm crazy, Brad shouts. This is poor storytelling, Munchie complains. I'm not even sure of the stakes at this point. I'll show you stakes, Brad grins, reaching down to something laying on the roof which the boys can't see from down on the beach. Behold! Brad jerks a person up by the neck, and as their hair parts, everyone realizes it's Michelle! Nate calls out. I literally forgot she was with us before, Ben comments. I think Digi did too, Munchie responds, while upvoting critical comments of Chapter 3 on Digibro's channel. Digibro throws up, shits himself, and headbutts a crack rock into powder before snorting it up, shedding his shit-stained clothes and running into the ocean. Meanwhile, Brad Garlinghouse has produced a gun and pointed it to Michelle's head. Don't worry about me, Michelle calls out. Just save RADCON 4! That's Bradcon to you, bitch. Ew, he doesn't know how to swear, Ben snarks. How like a megalomaniacal capitalist lizard person, probably never even spoken to an actual human being before. Ben, is this really the time? Nate begs. It's always the time, Nate! The ignorant need to be shown their place! Silence, Brad shouts, reflexively pulling the trigger on the gun and shooting Michelle in the head. Bang! Jesus Christ! Ben screams. Ow! Fuck! Fucking shit! Michelle hollers, surviving for reasons we've already gone over twice before, so fuck you at this point if you haven't been paying attention, and she kicks Brad in the dick. Fucking asshole! Fuck you! As Brad crumples to the roof, Michelle continues stomping on his crotch as Brad screams. Okay, Michelle, that's enough giving Brad a foot job, Nate complains, as jacked Pump and Munchie storm up the dunes towards the rad house. Upon cresting the dune, Munchie leaps with beastly force, soaring up and arcing directly ass first onto Brad's gut, producing a hilarious winded groan. Falling from an even higher jump, jacked Pump twists in the air and aims his right elbow down, his left hand clasped around his right fist like he's driving a katana downwards, and he slams his pointed arm straight through Brad's neck, decapitating him. As soon as Brad's head is severed, his chin and jaw split open, revealing a sideways inner mouth with short, jagged yellow teeth and a flurry of tentacle tongues, which slither out and lift the head onto its tongues as legs, which scurry for the edge of the roof, whereupon the alien head creature is promptly blasted to shreds from below by Tom, whose bed is being carried into the rad house by the men in black. Nothing more satisfying than a well-placed shotgun sound, Tom muses, drinking in the reverberations of his cannon blast. Back on the roof, Munchie starts to feel his ass being split, so he jumps up, turns around, and sees more tendrils spewing from Brad's headless body. They quickly snap forward and snake around his legs, making their way back towards his coveted hole. All hands protect my ass! Munchie hollers. In about 2 seconds, all 12 tendrils are torn through with great precision by sniper bullets from various nearby rooftops and helicopters. The broken, bleeding tentacles recoil as the blood-spewing corpse of Brad squirms and is ripped open by panicking, wriggling squids. Dude, disgusting, Nate retches, making it to the roof just in time to start avoiding the scampering, wounded squids which hobble out of the corpse and away from their aggressors. As the squids run, they reshape and grow, and within about 10 feet, each has fully morphed into a full Brad Garlinghouse, and now all of those are leaping off onto other rooftops with laughter. Fucking shunk! Munchie screams, using the modern world's most heinous racial slur. This looks like a job for the cop killers, Ben mumbles, still observing the scene from back on the dunes and producing a walkie-talkie from his pocket. /thrash. As soon as Ben gives the command, hooded figures spring from the shadows cast by each Brad clone, who is then instantly torn to shreds before those shaded creatures dissipate back into the air. But alas, the chunks of these Brads each immediately puffs up into a full-blown laughing Brad Garlinghouse. Ugh, the 30 tracks of laughter are killing me, Nate cries, clutching his ears. All of the Brads, looking down at the gang from nearby higher-up rooftops, speak in unison. Now this is starting to feel like a proper Brad convention. Actually, RADCON stands for Rad Conference, not convention, Ben corrects. Fuck off, Ben, Munchie dismisses him. Munchie, what the fuck? Ben asks. Nobody gives a shit, Ben, Munchie retorts. Guys, this isn't the time to be fighting amongst ourselves. What are we going to do about Brad? He keeps multiplying, Nate re-explains. Perhaps if we could capture him somehow, Ben begins, and then directs his attention through the window of the Rad House, where Tom is being set up in bed. He hollers, Tom, what do you think? You hearing all this? Barely, a muffled voice shouts back. We'll just go with capture, boys, Munchie says, holding a transceiver. Within seconds, the sky is darkened, and the atmosphere cramped with the noise of helicopter blades. A bunch of jacked jack-o'-lantern soldiers carrying epic sci-fi guns are riding with their legs hanging from the open doors of the choppers, and they begin opening fire on the Brads. Their guns produce orange energy fields which spread out and wrap around the Brads, curling them into a ball like a fox in a net, and then using tractor beams to pull them up into the copters. Time for a scene transition, boys, Munchie says, dusting off his hands. A few hours later, Digibro comes sauntering through the front door of the Rad House, having taken a walk around the world to ease his troubled mind. He's redressed himself in a new set of dumpster jammies and an even bigger, even fluffier fur coat. Making his way to the basement, he eventually finds the rest of the PCP gathered around a table covered in empty beers and sprawled across a square of couches. Digi, you're just in time for the meeting, Nate hollers as Digi approaches. Digi pauses for a second, holding up a finger to indicate he needs a minute, then turns around. When he turns back and flashes a thumbs up, his mustache is matted white. He takes a seat. Munchie begins the exposition. The only thing between us and having the PCP back is access to one Brad's phone. However, anytime anything enters the containment field around one of the Brads, a tentacle goes up their arm and makes a beeline for their beehole. I've already lost too many good people to some gook hentai shit these last few hours. Well shit, man, what do we do? Brad's just too fucking powerful, Ben observes. Not necessarily, Nate retorts. Brad already returned my channel just because I asked, seemingly because in his illogical mind, he considered it to be of lesser or even negligent value as compared to the PCP. Negligible, Ben interrupts. Did I not say that? What did I say? Nate asks. You said, I don't even remember or care, Ben responds. Excellent. That interruption was incredibly warranted and worthwhile, Nate retorts. Anyways, my point is that Brad can clearly be reasoned with to some degree or in some way. You just said the same thing twice, Ben points out. Ben, I swear to God I'll make you into a pissy baby bitch if you don't shut your fuck tunnel, Munchie threatens. The thing about your plan, Nate, Tom chimes in, is that we can't even understand Brad's logic or motivations. As he said, he's completely insane. We all specialize in narrative analysis, so we can agree that Brad's actions follow no constructive through line. It's best to assume that either his actions are completely random, or that he's operating on a truly alien system of logic. Well, the fact that he's remained consistent in his approach towards trying to commandeer RADCON, I think it's safe to probably work under the assumption that his conduct is not in fact random, if for no other reason that if we were to assume that, we would essentially have nothing to work towards besides a brute force solution, Nate navel gazes. Why not just skip to the brute force solution? Munchie asks, as Jack Pump pounds a fist into his hand in the background, from whoever's perspective has them lined up like that. Well, I suppose if we have any ideas for solutions like that, we could run with them, but I think diplomacy might offer, say, a cleaner, possibly even amicable solution to our issues. Nate, he shot your girlfriend in the head, Munchie interjects. I'm fine, Michelle hollers from a table in the distance, holding an ice pack to her head. Yes, well, we can all agree he's a very bad man. Nate, he's a capitalist, Ben interrupts. Okay, and that means nothing really in particular to me, but your feelings on the matter will, like all the rest of your opinions, be deposited directly into the trash bin of my brain. Crack, Digibro then gruffs out. No one pays it any mind. I gotta say, Nate, I'm with those guys on this one. Brad Garlinghouse seems to be some kind of weird bloodborne monster, and I don't think he should live, Tom says. Crack, Digibro says louder this time, catching glances from the others, but no response. Okay, well, be that as it may, even if I agreed with all of you, no one has yet actually suggested any of these brute force solutions which you all— Crack! Digi shouts and slams his fist on the table. Jesus, Munchie, will you give this man some crack? Ben asks. But Digi quickly produces his crack baggie from his pocket and points to it. Using all the strength he can muster, he forces out the first English words besides crack that he's uttered in years. Have crack. Give Brad. Okay, give him crack. That's an idea, I guess, Nate responds. Boys, what do you think? I don't know. Doesn't Brad seem like the kind of guy who'd be doing cocaine all the time anyways? He's got that kind of money, Ben surmises. Ben, we're all on cocaine all the time. My factories pump it into the air every morning. The crack I supply Digi with is chiseled from a trans-dimensional meteorite. Eating it allows your soul to experience a separate realm from your conscious mind, in which you commune with the dead greats of your species' history. Perhaps Digi is suggesting that if Brad had the guidance of the elder ghosts of whatever the fuck monster he is, then he would change his behavior. Munchie doesn't wait for anyone else to weigh in on the subject, but simply spits, "Make it so," into a walkie-talkie. Okay, well, if that's what we're doing, then I'd at least like to go and observe the results, Nate says. Everyone else agrees, so they go to do that. 3 stories below the Rad House, on the floor of a huge warehouse, the PCP boys stand around a glass chamber containing a Brad clone enshrouded by an orange containing field. The room is full of these glass containers, evenly spaced out, each with their own quietly sleeping Brad clone. He's almost like a baby when you see him like this, Ben muses. A corporatist, Lovecraftian, and therefore likely racist creature of pure evil. Digi carefully breaks off the smallest chunk of his drug meteor, which seems like it would do something, and drops it into the Brad tank. How will we know if it's working? Nate whispers unnecessarily. Don't whisper, Flugnarp, Munchie curses, using one of the current decade's most controversial words to describe people of a specific sexuality. Tom, who's laid out in a lawn chair, having been carried down to the basement by Jacked Pump, produces a Nintendo bitch from his pocket and starts playing Doom 2030. Something's happening, Ben perks up, as the Brad clone starts to jitter a bit, and then to kind of shake. Glancing around, Munchie realizes that the other Brads are moving as well. I don't like this, he mumbles, as the Brad clones all begin to writhe, their flesh crawling as the tentacles roll beneath the back of the skin. Yup, buddy, Digi mumbles. What does that mean, Digi? I don't know, Moon, Ben freaks out. I know what it means, Nate says apprehensively as tentacles begin to puncture through the skin of each Brad's body and squirm their way out into the orange containment fields. It means we're fucking boned. All at once, tentacles come blasting out of each Brad and straight through the glass containment beakers, shattering them as tentacles all link across different Brad bodies into a rich tapestry of tentacles surrounding all the boys. Fuck! Glass! Tom shouts. Jacked Pump immediately grabs onto a pair of entangled tentacles and tries to pull them apart, but they're just too slimy and gross, and his hands just slip and it's really gooey and icky. Guys, I'm freaking out! Ben cries as all the squids gyrate and begin to coagulate, pulling on one another until they've all gathered up into a huge wriggling ball of squid in the middle of the room with all the boys around it. A deep voice bellows from somewhere within the undulating tentacle mass. We have awakened to our identity as one. I am the Squid Lord. See, Ben? Collectivism never works, Nate shouts. Oh, that's such a false equivalency, Ben shouts back. Fucking shit, I'm out of ammo, Tom yells at his Nintendo. Where the hell are my men? Munchie panics into his phone. Akira yo nemiteru, Digi mumbles. Jacked Pump flips the bird. To be continued in Chapter 5, assuming that we make the last $800 to reach the goal within the less than 48 hours left in the campaign. Holy shit, will they make it or not?